All right, welcome back. This is the Morning Smoke. I'm your co-host, Melo Miller, with my esteemed co-host that we already established, the underscore truth 1987. Hey, we talking sports this thing.
Such a good day today.
And because I've already talked enough basketball with that 2K nonsense, I ain't going to be talking about it. I'm talking NFL.
Let's go to it.
I'm going to start off with a couple hot topics, man.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson. The polarizing figure all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the PR campaigns between Jackson's camp and the Ravens is at all-time high. And I'm going to tell you what, in the PR department, Lamar Jackson is losing.
Absolutely.
Because the Baltimore Ravens are putting out a lot of propaganda.
Yep.
People like Adam Schefter, who I've lost a little bit of respect for because he is being their mouthpiece. And he's not being impartial, in my opinion. He even got into it a little bit with Lamar Jackson over what's the truth of the contract offer that Lamar turned down.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go through this, and I want just the facts, right? Co-host, can I have a few minutes on this?
Hey, take your time, man.
Listen, I'm gonna go back to the beginning so we all can get a picture of really what we're doing here. April 26, 2018, the Ravens draft Jackson after trading up with the Eagles at number 32.
Yep.
Jackson then signs a 4-year, $9 million rookie contract. Not one of those heavy first pick in the draft. We talking about $9 million over 4 years.
Chump change. Yes.
And that deal was negotiated alongside with his mother and without an official agent.
Yep.
From the beginning. This is not new.
Yep.
So anything that the Ravens are putting out there as acting like this is some issue, you've dealt with this the entire time.
Correct.
All right. December 2018. After going 3-1 in place of an injured Flacco, that's a different conversation. Anytime I mention his name, Joe Flacco was hurt. He got replaced by this quarterback.
Correct.
February 2020. 2 years later, well, about a year and a half, Jackson's announced as the unanimous winner of the 2019 MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He had 47 touchdowns and rushing more than 1,200 yards, and the Ravens finished 14-2 that season.
Mm-hmm.
He surely was good under that $9.7 million, not annually, total.
Yeah, he overachieved. Very much so.
The following season, Jackson logs a second straight 1,000-yard rushing season.
So back
but
to back.
He back-to-back rushing. He is forced to leave the second round playoff game due to a concussion that season.
Correct.
Right. Then we go to April later that year. The Ravens, 2021, the Ravens exercised the 5th-year option on his rookie deal, securing him through 2022.
Yep.
And this guarantees him $23 million that 5th year.
Yep.
This will, through 5 years of a unanimous MVP, a rookie that has completely blown all expectations out the water, he will have earned a total of what, $32 million?
Roughly. Yep.
Quarterbacks make that in one season.
Pretty much.
He made that for 5 years. You think you draft a player for this type of production, for this type of growth. Am I right, co-host?
Yes, that's what you do.
At that time, conflicting reports emerged about the role of Jackson's mother in negotiations toward a long-term extension with the Ravens. He's eligible for a new deal entering this season, but he didn't have an agent. He never had one. See, some people didn't know this. See, I am unbiased here, co-host. I'm going to tell you the truth, not what Adam Schefter wants to report.
Right.
He never had an agent.
Never.
His mother was always helping him by his side. He kept that money in the family. Most of these deals, they're already, come on.
Yeah.
Now, in December of that year, he suffers an ankle injury in Week 14 to the Browns, and he missed the last 4 games of the season, and they did not make the playoffs that year. March 2022 says the general manager says he'd like to sign Jackson to a new deal, but suggests Jackson has yet to discuss an extension with any earnest, is his words, end quote. He says, we will work at Lamar's urgency. Now you're taking shots in the media, right?
Yep.
March 2022, a controversial move. The Ravens' rival. You got to understand the division. The Browns signed Deshaun Watson, who had all kind of issues off the field. Ain't played in a year and a half.
Yeah. Yep.
$230 million guaranteed.
Yep.
He was averaging $46 million per season during that contract. Okay. During that time, about 2 weeks later, the Ravens owner, he doubles down on the notion that Jackson isn't ready to negotiate a new deal. The GM can only do so much to bring Jackson to the table.
Right.
And he praises the quarterback, championing that he's unique as hell, end quote.
Mm-hmm.
And he's focusing on winning a title rather than cashing in on an extension. Isn't that something you normally would praise?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
We'll negotiate in the offseason. We don't need to do this during the season. Yet they're attacking him for not being at the table. You see how that PR started? March, just last year. Jackson downplayed speculation over he said, I love my Ravens. I don't know who the hell is putting that false narrative out that I'm having thoughts about leaving. Stop trying to read my mind.
Yeah.
He called out the false narratives then, co-host. The Cardinals, at that point, last summer, they signed Kyler Murray, who was drafted 1 year after Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just give him a 5-year extension. They actually gave him a 5-year, like a 1-year extension for $23 million.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him a 5-year extension worth $230
Mm-hmm.
with $130 guaranteed
Mm-hmm.
and a homework clause originally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to add that drama.
I know you did.
The Ravens reportedly offered Jackson more than Murray to secure him. This is August of last year, but Lamar apparently is looking at the Deshaun Watson deal and saying, hey, that's where the new standard is. And I'm better than that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else allowed the market to set the pace, but Lamar Jackson. We go through the season last year. We all know the drama. Here we are in the offseason, co-hosts. As Schefter reports that they apparently offered him $180 million. Lamar reportedly wanted $200 million. Schefter says, hey, they offered you $180 million guaranteed. It later comes out through Lamar's tweet. No, they didn't. They offered me a 3-year, $133.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happened was, if I was on the roster X amount, then this amount would be guaranteed to take it up to $160. And then if this other thing happened, then I'd be getting another $20 million bonus. So that's not guaranteed. Last thing I knew, co-host, guaranteed means you get me 180.
Exactly.
So was 133 guaranteed or was 180 guaranteed, as Schefter said? Well, you tell me.
Exactly. No, I got you. I got you.
After more PR silliness, and they used the non-exclusive tag that would only give the man $32 million, which would match what he made his whole career, a complete slap in the face.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson has now requested a trade. And I'm going to tell you, co-host, a team that's near and dear, who's leading as the favorite, the Indianapolis Colts, are favored to make a trade for Lamar Jackson. Although, here's a little kink in this. The owner, Jim Irsay, who was sober, I'll leave that for a different. He's been known to have a painkiller addiction and some alcohol here and there.
Leave Ursay alone, man.
He was sober, and he said to the reporters, I do not believe in fully guaranteed contracts. I don't think they're good for the NFL. I think the NBA and the MLB, it's bad for their business to have those fully guaranteed contracts, and I don't believe in them here. He later backpedaled slightly, knowing that they're interested in, Lamar Jackson, and he said, although the higher the talent, the closer we gonna get to a fully guaranteed contract. Less of the talent, the further we gonna be from it. End quote.
Yeah.
Co-host, I hate to tell you, this is an example, in my opinion. Lamar Jackson's being blackballed because the NFL does not want fully guaranteed contracts for the most prized position in the game because those are the highest paid players in the game. They're also one of the higher risks for injuries.
Yeah.
Even as much as they're doing to protect them, quarterbacks are missing more time than ever. It's just a very difficult position to play at that level with that much speed and power on the defensive side of the ball. Modern offenses having you moving and you're cutting and you're doing X, Y, Z. And look, you're very vulnerable when you're throwing that ball at that level. I don't think they want the highest paid position on the field to be fully guaranteed. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
They also don't want players to represent themselves. They'd rather deal with the coziness of the agents who they have rapport with and they can build plans with because other clients down the line, and we give this client this, then you owe me down the line with this other client, cut me a deal, all them little back deals, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pay more when you negotiate individually.
Yeah.
I think Lamar's being, because there's no way a 25-year-old, 26-year-old quarterback, MVP, unanimous MVP, dual threat, can throw it, can run it, wouldn't be getting his door beat down by over half the teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, I took a little bit extra time on this because I feel it's extremely important to get the truth out there. And co-host, what are your thoughts on this? Because to me, he's being blackballed.
Well, I agree. I've always said that the NFL is just very shady when it comes to these different type of deals and stuff that go on with these players, and not only just the QBs. I think there's some other players in other positions that also have the same type of issues and things of that nature because the NFL wants to set a certain standard when it comes to making these particular deals and these particular avenues for these players. So uh, it's unfortunate because I feel like Lamar's he's in a very particular place. He's representing himself. He's representing himself as a QB for a team, which is, like you said, one of the most prized possessions in a football team. And C, he's representing himself as a QB, as a black man on this particular team, where the owners, the majority of the owners, I'm sorry, not majority, all of the owners are white. So I think he's really in a precarious, you know, situation right now with his contract. And um, if I'm Ursay, I'm rolling the dice on this man. I'm getting him the money he wants because he has proven that he can produce when he has the talent around him. Now the Ravens have not had the type of talent needed for Lamar to be successful while he's on this team, and he still has produced without the talent. Just think if you get somebody that can go along with Lamar, like I don't know, a JT in the backfield. You get him some good receivers on the outside. I think he can do great things. So I don't know, man. I think it's crazy how these leagues do with these players. I mean, these owners, how they do with these players. It's just very amazing to me. And I know I was the main one saying last week, Lamar, you need an agent. You need to get yourself an agent. But at this particular point in time, I think it's I think it's the principality at this point. You probably shouldn't get one. I think you should stay the way that you are, and make these owners make a move, and let them see the biasness and things of that nature that goes on in the background. And hopefully they get exposed. I need the NFL needs to be exposed for this for sure. So
For me, if I'm the Colts, you have a choice to make. One, I believe out of the top two, there's not a quarterback in the draft that I'm willing um, to make my franchise quarterback. They'd have
yeah,
to take some leap or something I don't envision, right?
yeah,
And the Colts are at 4, and those two quarterbacks are going to be off the table.
yep,
So you either draft a quarterback that you feel you can get there. That's not there yet, but you feel you could get there. And that requires a plan, like a rebuilding plan, in my opinion, because you can't be ready right now and your quarterback's not ready for 2 years with contracts and growth, and you got to reposition your team to be good in 2 years.
yeah,
Or you go get a Lamar, you give up those 2 picks, and you've seen the model to do this. You do what Tampa Bay did.
fill the rosters with talent around this
You
man.
you
Yes,
go all in
yes,
for
yes,
2 to 3 seasons,
yes,
and then Lamar is there for the long haul. If you're winning during that time, you can attract the talent.
yep,
You can be aggressive. You can make the trades.
yep.
And if I had to say what the Colts need to do, we've not been right really since Peyton Manning because Andrew Luck project did not work out. I mean, he had some flashes and some brilliance in an AFC championship game.
Yeah.
But to a lot of Colts fans, they're still hurt from the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
And our heyday, us Colts fans, we rely on the quarterback position to be. That's how we've done it.
Yeah.
Go sign Mr. Box Office and get the quarterback position locked down. It's only going to cost you 2 firsts and $200 million. And you do it for 5 years and you build around them and you go out and you draft that talent and you sign who you need to sign and you get the job done.
Yeah. Yeah.
You build around Lamar. You put an offense on the field that's going to give you average you 30 points a game, co-host.
Yep.
All
Yep.
you need to do is build a defense to give up 25.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Now, I want to throw a little wrench in your Raven thing. I don't know if you heard this or not, but apparently the Ravens are also talking to Odell Beckham Jr. As well for the team. So it makes
I'm
me
gone.
want
I'm gone.
seriously hey, I just want to throw that in there because I'm like, okay, if you're willing to give up Lamar, then when you getting a big time receiver for? I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing, Ravens?
The Ravens don't know what to do.
What are we doing?
But in my opinion, OBJ won't command, in my opinion, the top receiver money.
No.
He has, just from reputation, top receiver name.
Yeah.
And this is a PR stunt to say, we're putting the weapons out there. This is on Lamar.
Yeah. I thought the same thing too.
I'm telling you, that's what that is. It's another move to make your quarterback look bad. I'm gone. Anyway, we have a few minutes left, and we're going to do part 2 of 3. We promised you more NFL coverage this week. We've been heavy basketball. We've covered the March Madness. Listen, we talking NFL, right, co-host?
Yeah, we talking NFL, and I also won March Madness. There you go. We can move on. Go ahead, move on.
We will talk about that.
I just want to throw that out there for our listeners. I won. Keep moving.
We're talking about that next week now.
Yeah,
after the champ, we're gonna announce the champion. We're gonna announce a champion.
Already won. Keep going. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. We ain't got to talk.
Part 2. We left off at the Bears. We giving them a B+ for their all-season moves. They added Deonta Freeman, running back. Tremaine Edmonds from the Bills. He's actually pretty good. Linebacker T.J. Edwards from the Eagles. They added guard Nate Davis from the Titans. They made a trade with the Panthers to dropped from the first to the ninth pick in the draft because they didn't need a quarterback.
Correct.
They got all kind of stuff back. Listen. What else? They got DJ Moore from the Panthers along with that deal. I'm telling you, co-hosts, if your boy Justin Fields don't produce now,
yeah, then you can say something about it. I agree.
will he be able to break the Ohio State quarterback curse?
I think he will. He showed flashes of it last year. He just didn't have any talent around him. He didn't have anybody around him, including that line. So hopefully, now that they got some pieces, we'll see what he can do.
And they got a bruising running back. They got all kind of different stuff. Man, I'm telling you, they got some pieces around them. Next up is your Cincinnati Bengals.
Let's talk about them.
What did they do? They went out and got Orlando Brown. That's one of the top tackles in the game that used to protect Mahomes' boy.
Correct.
They went out and got guard Cody Ford, their best lineman from the Cardinals.
Correct.
So now Joe Burrows with top receivers.
They did exactly what I said they needed to do. They needed to boost the line because that was the weakest part of the Bengals. So they looking good.
I'm gonna tell you what though, there's extensions coming up for Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can keep all three, but if they do,
that's great. But if there was one to leave, if one had to leave out of those three,
bye T.
Yeah, I'm getting rid of T. Yeah, he got to go.
I get the Bengals a B plus, man.
Yeah.
And they kept their own Jermaine Pratt.
Correct.
So I give them a B plus. They doing the best thing going in Cincinnati because they damn sure ain't nothing else going. Right. Cleveland Browns. I give them a B. One of the reasons I give them a B is because they losing Jadeveon Clowney, and he worked perfectly alongside Myles Garrett.
Sure did.
One of the most imposing. Look, they didn't have a quarterback half of it for 9 games, 10 games of the year.
But they still were winning games because of that.
And they
defense.
still were winning games because of that defense, man.
That defense is crazy. Yeah.
They went out and got, I can't even say the boy name, defensive end Oboe.
It's cool, man. Just keep going.
They went out and got defensive end Oboe from the Texans, defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson from the Vikings, and defensive line Maurice Hurst from the 49ers.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, if that's going to be enough, but they doing their best. Only so much you can do when you're paying 46 to Deshaun Watson. Anyway,
leave Deshaun alone because he's still a good QB. I just don't know if he's worth that money. I don't know if he's worth that money. Time will tell. But
he backloaded his deal, FYI, to create $36 million in space.
Yeah,
he didn't change his deal, people. No. It's still $230 million guaranteed. All he did was restructure the order in which it's paid.
Correct.
Dallas Cowboys. We're gonna finish with this. America's team in the 90s. Dallas Cowboys. You stole Stephon Gilmore from the Colts via trade.
Don't do that. They didn't steal it.
You got Brandon Cooks from the Texans via trade.
It's a good pick.
You re-signed Donovan Wilson, Vander Esch, which is a tremendous linebacker. Yep. He covers edge to edge. Tyron Smith and quarterback Cooper Rush.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need that backup because your boy stay hurt.
Sure did.
Dak. So.
Sure did.
I don't know, man. I give them an A because they got rid of Zeke.
Yes.
They tagged Pollard.
Yep.
Which I think he is just an absolute
phenomenal running back. Yeah, he's a phenomenal running back.
Pollard's figure, which a lot of people don't realize, when Jonathan Taylor had a league leading 5.8 rushes, Pollard had more, 5.9.
Sure did.
He just didn't get the attempts.
Correct.
That Taylor had.
Correct.
Which makes Taylor's 5.8 that much more impressive.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you. But I don't know, man. I think with Trevon Diggs and Gilmore, that secondary is going to be really tightened up.
Yeah. Defense looks really good, and they did great by getting rid of Zeke. And I'm an Ohio State fan. You know, I stick with my boys, but Zeke has not produced, and God knows how long. So it was definitely his time to go, cut ties, and we'll see what he does now. Um, I see him getting picked up by somebody else, but we'll see what he does. We'll
They
see what he
also
does.
added Brandon Cooks in a trade. All they had to do was give up 2 late round picks. So
Mhm.